Hey guys, welcome back to Frances Quilts. My name is Frances Arnold and today we are on location at A Journey in Quilts, the quilt show of the Cotton Patch Quilters of Athens, Georgia. And I love this because it's my guild and this show has been magnificent. We're on day 3 and we've had 220 quilts and about 1,000 visitors so far, and it has just been a magnificent time. Now, one of the things that I love about my guild is the diversity. We have people that do outstanding piecing and applique and just anything that you can imagine. But today on Free Motion Friday, we're going to be looking at the quilting that our group does. We have hand quilters, we have long arm quilters, we have sit-down machine quilters, and some of it is just amazing. So let's just take a wander around and have a look. The first quilt that I want to show you is called Modern Vintage by Sylvia Schaefer. Now, Sylvia has a wonderful book about negative space quilting, and I've heard through the grapevine that she's putting out another one, so we can't wait to see that. I'll leave a link in the show notes. But let's go in and have a look. And this won the Best Machine Quilting ribbon. Let me show you that. Didn't they do a wonderful job on these ribbons? Oh, so much fun. But let's come in and look. She has a little bit of everything going on in this quilt with lots of texture, just look at the grid work there and just how those circles pop out with the grid work in the background. And then a lot of little straight line micro quilting in through there. This whole quilt is just an example of wonderful quilting. And I'm thinking she's done all of this with rulers. So again, if you enjoy ruler quilting, you ought to check out my course. Always have to get a plug in there somehow. This one's a little bit harder to see because it's up high, but this is Butterfly by Nancy Lambert. You may notice Nancy's name because she's had a lot of quilts and a lot of shows, so you may look at it and go, oh, I remember her quilt. But let's come in and look. She does amazing modern quilting and just a lot of straight line and simple curves in here, but it just adds so much to the look of the quilt. And she is using a sit-down machine when she's doing her quilting. This is another quilt by Sylvia Schaefer called Cool Pool, and again you can see she's taken her very modern design and just used some straight line quilting. And I just think it adds so much to it. This quilt is called Color Wave by Betsy Vonk, and I want you to look at the design of it as it is moving up, and the piece squares are getting smaller and the white negative space, you're getting more and more of that. And she just has a very super simple wave design in here, but it adds so much to the quilt. So you see, simple things can add a lot to your quilts. And I have to show you this amazing quilt by my friend Rosie Crockett. This was for a Drunkard's Path challenge, and she just knocked it out of the park. Her quilting in the blue here has just added a lot of dimension to it. There's also a grid in the background that you don't notice necessarily, but then every once in a while it pops up and you go, oh, look at that really cool grid. And I love all the embellishments that she added to this quilt. Let's come back out for another look. This next one is called Interpretation, Savior's Face by Beth Vaughn. And this is all thread work. Let's come in here closer and look. She has used a lot of straight lines, just some very simple curves and things like that in here. It is just a wonderful interpretation done solely in thread. This is my friend Linda's chicken quilt, and I love this quilt. She had so much fun putting it together. But the thing I want to show you here is there is one fox among the chickens. And if you look right here nice and close, you see that she has quilted in the word yum right there. This one is called Tipping Point by Laura Lydon. Laura uses a wonderful technique where she takes alcohol inks and puts them on paper, and then she has the designs transferred onto fabric, and then she quilts the heck out of them. Let's go in and look a little bit at her quilting. She adds so much dimension and texture to her quilt with the thread that she adds to it. This very graphic quilt had lots of space for quilting, and quilter Kay Davis just had so much fun with it. Let's go in and look. I'll show you another one of hers in just a few minutes, but you can see that she is just really does a wonderful job with this graffiti type quilting. And I just can't imagine putting all these designs together. That's something that I really have to work on. This is a quilt called Crazy Daisy by Charlene Gaddis, and to me this quilt is just so fun and friendly and I love it. But then when you go in, you can see some fun quilting that she's done. She does not own a long arm but rents one from a local store, and I think she's doing very well with her free motion long arming. It's so fun, just the little things that she added in between these flowers, just to give them a little more dimension and a little more pop. Abbey Road on the left here is another Jody Sila design that was quilted by Kay Davis. Again, lots of open negative space for Kay to play in, and let's go in and look and see what she did. And if you're like me, all you can say at this point is, oh my. Lots of fun spirals and feathers and pebbles, and as we come across here, you're going to see, oh, there's even a few clouds in there. Kay definitely needs to teach me some lessons. This is another Rosie Crockett design called Zendangle, and she has just added so many things in with her quilting. You see there's a guitar in there, and there's a fish hook down here, and there's some musical signs in here, and she turned one of these into a daisy. Just, oh my gosh, so much fun. And I also love the straight lines that she's added in the background here. It's not a complete grid, it's just a partial grid, but it adds so much to the quilt. And believe it or not, this quilt is by a novice quilter. Her name is Melissa Hatton, and this is one of her first quilts ever. She did wonderful work on the applique Dresdens, but let's look at the quilting. She spent so much time practicing and did a number of Angela Walters challenges so that she could learn how to machine quilt this quilt. And needless to say, it got first prize in the novice division. This modern quilt from Angela Meltzer called White Palette is a very simple, super simple quilt, but the quilting is also super simple, but look how much it adds to the design. I love me some straight lines. This piece is called Refractions from Sharon Rockhold, and it is just a study in machine quilting. So let's just go in and have a look. The straight lines do a great job of setting off all of the other pieces or sections that have been quilted more heavily. And finally, let's end this off with a little bit of hand quilting. This is from my friend Denise Stanchik. It's called A Walk in the Park, made with Tilda fabrics that she loves. But Denise is a super fan of hand quilting, and she does some wonderful, wonderful things. I want you to look at these stitches, how even they are and how just almost perfect they are. It doesn't get any better than that. Well, I told you, didn't I? Wonderful, amazing quilting going on here, and I just love looking at every one of these quilts. If you've enjoyed our tour of quilting, be sure and give it a thumbs up. And guys, thank you so much for joining me, and as always, I look forward to seeing you next time back in the studio on Frances Quilts.
Remember, if you like what you've seen, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please check out my website and daily blog at francesquilts.com, and I can be found on Facebook and Instagram at Frances Quilts. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you again soon.